Okay, so so then we come back to our problem with agriculture. As I told, the agriculture we see last 70 years change very strong. And that's the producing of artificial fertilizers and concentrated animal production. We talk animal husbandry, but now it is animal production, that because we treat it as a factory. These two factors very strong impact on condition of our rivers and condition of Baltic Sea. The condition of Baltic Sea, the countries around the Baltic Sea notice in 70s. So it was the first agreement or on improve water status was in 1974. And unfortunately, even willing all people and all countries, the status of Baltic Sea getting worse and worse. Coming to this time now, we haven't every season, every summer, we have now algal blooming and cyanobacteria and our coast. That's it's really a problem. And this is the reason is this intensive agriculture. And in this, I try to answer in my lecture what the problem is and what we can do as farmers, as a people, as a politician, to change this situation. I check the last report of our Inspectorate for Environmental Protection based on last 5 years research, and there was recorded how that we have poor water in our rivers. So in fact, we haven't in 99%. So river. Of course, the Drava River is one example, one fantastic example. Maybe not one. We can find some few clean river, but it is a really problem. And there is still, from Polish side, there is still necessary the reduction of tons of nitrogen and phosphorus. And this nitrogen and phosphorus is mainly from agriculture. What we see, what happened at first, the algal blooming, the second cyanobacteria, and in Baltic Sea, because in Baltic Sea there's visible the result of this intensive agriculture. And also the dead zone. Now we have about 18% of area of Baltic Sea. There is dead zone. It grow and grow. So that is a fact. And now I try to explain why agriculture. The agriculture practice changed dramatically in the last century. This, as I told, this new technology, animal breeding, chemical fertilizers, and what the biggest problem is to share production. We have now animal farms, only animal farms, which are concentrated in the small area, and we don't produce the food in the farm. We import, for example, from South America, special soybean, genetically modified. And on the second hand, we have a big, large plant production with using a lot of artificial chemical fertilizers. And also the consumer preferences change dramatically toward meat consumption. So it is especially visible in Poland, where we are second on the third producer of meat, chicken meat, pork meat, and beef meat. And there is concentrate in the big farms, source of water pollution. It's special. What happens? It visible on this schema. It is a crop farm. We see input, output. Input 150 kilograms per hectare nitrogen. Output 105. And surplus 45. And it is no problem, not big problem. But when we see the animal farm, this surplus in 130 kilograms, and it is really big surplus. Moreover, it is the output, the source of output is slurry. And however, it is recommended to use slurry at the fields. It is really very bad solution because in the slurry, there are no process with high temperature till 60, 70, 80 degrees, like in manure, like in compost and in process. There are no process like in compost and manure, that all pathogens during this process are killed. It not happens with slurry. So where this process is about 11 to 15 degrees. So all pathogens we have in the fields, that's we shouldn't use the slurry, and we have a problem how it utilize. And here, that's example of ecological recycle agriculture. That's idea. The idea is that's a good example, but generally its idea is close recycling of nutrients in the farm gate or at the field. So that's what is very very important, that you limit that we have to that you close this recycling, that you have the crop rotation, you have animal and plant production, you use manure, animal manure to composting and introduce to the fields, and so that surplus is much lower than in animal farm and lower in plant farm. Here in this kind of agriculture, this ecological recycled agriculture, these conditions are stronger, are higher than in IFAM standards to organic agriculture. So that's, for example, animal density less than 1 animal unit per hectare, and it is only possible to import fodder only in 15%. So the point is to integrate crop and animal production, and that's its solution to liquidate this surplus of nitrate and surplus of phosphorus. Why we have a problem? There is this description relate Polish condition. For example, in Poland, we have a problem with acidification of soil, and it is a very negative effect because the plant and the plant consume only 50% nitrate at the field. So it is. That is another problem is a small amount of humus in the soil. Humus is absolutely crucial for nutrients and even for water retention. Unfortunately, in Poland, the weak soil, sandy soil, they are mostly, it is about even 90% of Polish soil. So that is very important to work to build a humus. The result is soil erosion. Because of soil erosion, we lose phosphorus to the water. Leaching also through atmospheric precipitation into groundwater. Improper crop rotation. We now, because of there is it is not there is problem. We with crop rotation, the proper crop rotation, it is 7 years of crop rotation. In Poland, sometimes, very often, but mostly, we often 2 years. What is not proper and not help to stop leaching the nutrients. The last one is unbalances doses and wrong time of fertilization. That's, however, we have, it is recommended the good agriculture practice, when in this good agriculture practice, there is regulation that in our climate we should fertilize from 1st March till 15 October in this time. But we don't, the farmers not use it. However, it is introduced in new fertilization plan now. So, effect, the agriculture brings a lot of problem to water, but also in agriculture there are a lot of solution, and the key is in agriculture. That's the first one, what I talk, it is integrated this crop and animal production. Another tools, there is, for example, use deep reaching tree and scrap roots will constantly capture the nutrients, including surplus of nitrate, of phosphorus and nitrogen leach from arable land. So it is visible on this picture. It is kind of buffer zones. What another tools? At first, it is very important to make analysis of soil, and this result of analysis show us if we really need phosphorus and nitrogen to add to our soil. There is very important fertilization and proper time. It means between 15, in our climate, between 15 March and or 1st March and 15 October. That's what else? Using too high rates of fertilizers at the same time. That's very important. Sometimes when we have result of our analysis, we can calculate and we have decide how many fertilizers we need. And this lack of buffer zones. So that's also the problem. And how we save the nutrients in the soil, that's also important. So as I told, this analysis to have, to have idea and to know how the situation is, keep the dates of fertilization, and fertilize appropriate to weather condition. That's also very important. Do not grow crops in simplified crop rotation. It means that 2 years crop rotation, it isn't crop rotation. We need at least 4 years, at the best 7 years of crop rotation. Whether possible using catch crops to bind the remaining nitrogen to the biomass in order to protect and against leach. And this catch crops, it's very, very important. It's increase the amount of humus by growing green manures to be plowed. That is very important. That when now it is October, and our fields in this October should be green, not brown. And this green, these plants, we will plow at the spring. So we build humus in this way. And in areas with slopes, introduce soil tillage across the slope to prevent erosion. Or establish permanent plantation or permanent grasslands. That's also important. The problem is with, of course, when we coming to animal production, animal husbandry, we should take care on liquid fertilizers should be stored in sealed containers, and manure must be stored on manure pad with rain protection. So in this way, we not lose the nutrients. Fencing pasturage in order to hamper access for the animals directly to water courses and reservoirs. So we have to take care on our animals. Fertilize the soil with organic fertilizers, where nitrogen compounds are gradually mineralized and are better assimilated with crops and soil biota. Every year, about when we use organic fertilizers, every year about 30% mineralize, and in this way they are available to plants. That is very important, because in this way the plants should use it fully, and for the next year the nitrogen weight to consume in the next year. Establish crop rotation where shallow and deeply rooted crops will be grown alternatively. It is also important for the retention, that the structure of the soil is better and can keep water in the structure, together, of course, with nutrients. And ploughing as late as it possible in the end of the year. What else? Mixing organic fertilizers to the soil as quickly as possible, and not loose or not left at the soil, because we lost the nitrogen sometimes as much as a half. On sandy soil, prey sand with clay on the bottom for compost chip. Create buffer zones around the water reservoirs and water courses for filtration and slowing down for the nutrients runoff. So we see how the problem with nutrients is connected with water, to also to stop this water in the soil. It is like Arthur said, that we have the same amount of water every year, but we lose it very quickly together with nutrients. Planting the bushes and the trees and the buffer strip to reduce soil erosion. With soil erosion, we lose the phosphorus. And use the small retention of water on the farms, taking care of existing well, creating new pools, ponds, small water reservoirs, preserving natural wetlands. Especially this last one is very important, because during last 50 years, we lose a lot of natural wetlands for agricultural use. And special take care on phosphorus, because the nitrogen dissolves its water very easy, and so it dismisses with water. With phosphorus, it's harder, because it is the outflow from agriculture around in form associated with stored soil particles, or in the form of organic suspended matter. So when we think about phosphorus, that's very important to protect soil and protect it from erosion. So what is important? Diversification of the crop land use structure with significant share perennial crops. High share of catch crops, including undersowing throughout the year. Reduction of area of white row crops, for example, beet and maize, to minimize soil erosion. And of course, sustainable fertilization, including no phosphorus surplus. But the most important is this green soil in the autumn, the catch crops. So it improve our soil, and not then we haven't erosion. It is also very important the efficiency and loses these nutrients, because from economic reason. And very important, as I told, in Poland we have the soil is acid. This pH is mostly between 5,5 and 4,5. It is really our soil is acid, so that is easy to reach the the nitrogen compounds and phosphorus compounds. So it's very, very important. So in fact, we lose this 50% synthetic fertilizers. So it is very, very important, this good practice, which allow us to save this fertilizer. We pay for it, so it is very very important to stop this fertilizer and excess. How, of course, we have also the tools, some tools we have in common agriculture policy, in Pillar 2, and the measure calls water protection and soil protection. And there is and for this concretely measures, the farmers can get the money. And for example, sowing of intercrops plan by September 15 each year. A ban of resuming agrotechnical procedure before March. Using as intercrop only a mixture composed as a minimum of 3 plant species. And we know that is too small. Now we know, whereas dominating species in the mixture of cereal species used in the mixture should be not exceed 70% in this composition. So, and for this kind of measures, as I told, the farmers can get money. And in the end, so we see how many tools practically farmer has in his or her hand, and but it is not all. Now we are before the big proposal of European Union. European Commission present from farm to fork strategy on biodiversity, because all these measures, what we have to present, not works enough. And there is a plan to the most important is to connect the direct payments with these agri-environmental schemes which the farmers use on this farm. So the payment will be very connected. If he introduces in the farm, he is able to get more money. If not, less money or nothing. So this one is important, and this also. The next, it is protection of natural wetlands, and very important what we talk about to sustainable management of nutrients. It means that's also visible that these previous tools are not used enough or at all, and there is important to use. Yesterday and today they are voting, and we'll see very short how much these tools friendly to environment and to human life will be implemented into new strategy, because we have only proposal of Commission. Now it should be confirmed by Parliament. Okay, that's all. Not more comments to the voting. Thank you very much.